Well, thank you everyone for joining us today for the webinar on Canadian policies on refugees, a women, peace and security perspective. So this webinar is part of a consultation on the new National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security, organized by Global Affairs Canada and the Women, Peace and Security Network Canada. So the first CNAP was launched in 2010 and focused on the traditional women, peace and security pillars of prevention, participation, protection, and relief and recovery. But since then, much has changed in the global context, and new important challenges have emerged globally that need to be dealt with to raise security. As many of you know, and we're witness to it every day, the world is really facing the largest displacement crisis since World War II as a result of rampant militarization, violence, and insecurity. The topic of addressing the refugee crisis looms large in global institutions and processes and poses a key challenge to a safe and prosperous world. Responses to the crisis have differed from country to country. So far, most of the burden has been placed on neighboring host countries to conflict-affected countries. But with refugee camps breaking by the seams, millions are risking the journey to reach the more prosperous countries in the global north. Now, Canada has set a positive example by having accepted more than 40,000 Syrian refugees and continues to welcome more. In international fora, Canada speaks out about the positive contributions refugees make to society and promotes the private sponsorship model that has been very popular here around the world. Also at the UN Refugee Summit last year in September in New York, Canada championed responsibility sharing among all rich countries. But unfortunately, not all countries have responded positively. We have witnessed increased xenophobia and the closing of borders across Europe and now the US as well. Also, challenges and insecurity faced by refugee women remain largely unaddressed, despite being well documented. So today we will explore how the issue of migration and refugees can be included in the next Canadian National Action Plan on 1325. We have with us two amazing women activists who have recently come to Canada to share their experiences and thoughts with us, and I will introduce them in a minute. But just to let everyone know, you are encouraged to pose questions throughout the discussion. I will be able to follow along, and we can address them during the question and answer period. You're also encouraged to visit the website for the consultations at www.cnapconsult.org to find further details about the consultation, participate in the online survey and discussion forum, and read relevant documents specifically prepared for the consultations. Now, let me introduce our guests. With us this morning, we have Muzna Dureid. She's a young but staunch peace activist from Syria. Muzna worked as a project coordinator for the Badal Foundation, a non-governmental organization committed to the development and strengthening of civil society groups in Syria. She is also the founder and coordinator of Women Refugees Not Captives, a campaign which is aiming to end the practice of forced child marriages in Syria and the region. Welcome, Muzna.
Welcome. Good morning, everyone.
We also have with us Fahima Hashim. She is a lifetime women's rights activist from Sudan. She's the director of the Selma Women's Resource Center and has diligently challenged sexist and racist policies that violate human rights. Fahima has also advocated for an end to the war in Darfur and a comprehensive peace agreement to be put in place there. Welcome, Fahima. Oh, Fahima, are you there? Okay. Well, we're going to proceed and with Muzna first, and then hopefully Fahima will be with us shortly. I'm guessing there are some technical difficulties, but we have someone with us who will take care of those right away. So maybe the best way to start this conversation is by asking Muzna to share her story. Muzna, please tell us about uh, your life and your work in Syria and how you ended up in Canada.
Yeah. First of all, good morning for everyone who is joining us this panel. And actually, when the revolution started in Syria, I was 20 years old, so I was just like a student in the traduction and language faculty, and we organized in the when the Arab Spring also starts in the Arab countries. So we're wondering in Syria, what's about Syria and what's about the rights in Syria. So we start to organize the first call by Facebook to go to street and protest against the regime and our demand like dignity, democracy, and rights, and freedom also. So we work all the activists in Syria to bring the freedom for our people and be like all the countries who's have freedom in country. So I'm start in the to participate in demonstration in the street and all the meetings to keep our movement on. And but after that, I'm originally from Damascus, the capital of Syria. South of Damascus, this area, it's totally against regime, so it's very dangerous to me by card of identity and all these things to be arrested in Syria. So my brother has been arrested 2 times in Syria, and one of them from the airport, and many of my my family killed and arrested in Syria. So after that, I took the decision to leave Syria and continue my working from outside. So I'm continuous from Turkey, and when I was there, I'm visiting Jordan and Lebanon, all the neighboring country of Syria, and I saw what's happening for refugees, for the first wave of refugees there, and very focused in women and girls. So I'm start to the campaign against all the violation against women, especially in the camps, because many of Syrian families, they're in the camps or in the cities, they sells their daughter just to protect them in the first code, and secondly also for the money, because all this family who's living in the camps and or in the cities in borders, they need like support from the international community or from the governments, but it's not happening. So they use like tools from their families by the forced marriage. And another thing that for the boys also, they commitment in the fighting as a soldier. So I'm working in this issue that to save women in camps and in the foreign country, and empowering the women, and also for the mothers who's without household holder, to give them like the power and how they can protect their family from the involved in the fighting or forced marriage or the violation. So I'm started from this work, and after that, I continue in the level of peace building, how we can take women in the process of peace, in negotiation, mediation in the Syria, in Geneva or another cities. And I'm working with recently with Basamat for Development to train our staff in Syria about transition justice and women rights, and how they keep them in the process, in the movement. So I came to Canada by organization in Ottawa called Noble Women's Initiatives, and by the program Sister to Sister Mentorship Program. And I have participated in the many of panel in Syria in Canada, sorry, in Canada, across Canada, like Vancouver, Victoria, and Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto. So I'm talking about my situation that Assad regime forced like impingement the activists to didn't renew the passport, to stopping them to participating in the conferences or meetings in the world, to stopping talking about what's happening in Syria and what's the violation there. So for this reason, I lost my chance to renew my passport. So I'm staying here as a refugee in Canada, and I passed my hearing also, and I took the positive decision from the court as a protected person. Yeah, and I continue my work from here to support women in Syria and the very country.
Great. Thank you so much, Muzna, for sharing your remarkable story. Fahima, are you on the line now?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you well. So Fahima, can you please tell us about your work and how it relates to women, peace, and security, and how you came to Canada?
Okay. Yeah, my work first started in Sudan after the early 1990s, when the Islamists came to power, and they started their project of oppression on women and subordination for their every rights they gained during the women's movement that was since 1950s and 60s. So the Civilization Project really managed to damage the existing progress that women made previously, and it also destroyed their dignity and their being as a full citizen living in Sudan. So the struggle first started, especially after the government started making laws that restricts women's mobility, freedom of speech, putting dress code into force, and so we can, and issuing decrees like women cannot wear trousers, and they cannot go to work, any kind of work that after sunset. Women working in restaurants and hotels are not allowed to work anymore, especially young women. So these laws was quite disturbing to the women's movement, and then women really felt this is not the Sudan we know, and this is not the society we were brought up in, and this is not the legacy that we really inherited from our from the women generation after generation. So that created really a culture of violence against women, and started really disrupting the women growth as citizens in the Sudan. Plus this, the government also erupted different kind of conflict, civic conflict in the country. In Darfur, in the western part of the country, the South Sudan, which has a long history of war, which is now a separate country. So this, we inherited quite a number of different displaced women around the cities, the big cities. So, and it was, then women started really looking at how to organize and help women around this area, and also help women in the normal, to pursue their normal life, going to schools or going to universities or pursuing any kind of education. So especially when they started really making the laws more restrictive. So I worked as I'm a founder of one of the women organizations named Salma Women's Resource Center, and we had to take a lot of burden to work towards the abolishing of these restrictive laws and try to make more awareness and work with different. So it was really overwhelming working in IDP camps, working with women in the conflict area, working in the cities where women are also facing a different kind of violations against their rights. So yeah, it wasn't an easy thing, but I think we had different kind of different strategies and organizations that we built throughout these processes. Sometimes it failed, sometimes it succeeded, but we strategized to like work with like come as a coalition of women, work in alliances, so that we don't face harassment from the government. So we managed to work to stop or freeze some of these laws. We managed to work as also train and work with the younger generation who have been very confused because they really don't know what to do, and they are lacking because of the education. The Islamization of the society really affected everything. So we had a program especially for young women and men to work with them, and that really created a different kind of orientation of young generation, which today they are really making a big difference in the social life of women. Also.
Oh, Fahima?
So, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So we started really mobilizing. We started working especially when sexual violence became an epidemic thing in the conflict areas. We made our voice very loud because that was not what we could expect and we could accept, and in Darfur, women were raped. In South Sudan, women were raped. All these women in IDP camps were really living in poverty, facing a lot of problems, and we as civil society at that time, we were not allowed to enter unless we have permission from the government, and the government doesn't really give us permission. So we started also strategizing to work with train sometimes people who are living on those camps, outside the camps, and then we give them the knowledge, so they take the knowledge inside the camps and work with the women. We also fought for changing the criminal code, where in the criminal code, rape is defined as adultery. So there's no definition of rape per se in our legal system. So if you are raped and you want to take your case forward to court, then you will be treated as you will be lashed according to the Sharia, 100 lashes, because you have confirmed the committing of adultery. So that was one of the things that we fought for it. I mean, we worked as 10 organizations. We came together to fight for this. And this, of course, with the support of a lot of organizations and groups internationally who support us by training, by funding, by exposing us to the international human rights community to speak about our experience, and we gain knowledge in that. So we have, in Canada, we have Noble Women Initiative help us, especially with the global campaign they launched on ending sexual violence in conflict. I think that was a very important event for us to contribute to that, and we were exposed to look at different kind of experiences and women's strategies in different parts of Africa, Asia, and Latin America. So it was also a big investment for us to give us a way forward and to see the possibility of creating some change. As well, we are still struggling with the dress code because we still have, I mean, there's a lot of groups working on that. There's a lot of young groups also working on that and resisting it, but still the laws are in place, but there is a voice there, and people are trying to work towards resistance in a different way, not to make this law really hinder what their choices of what you wear. So another thing that we also continued working on violence against women, especially sexual violence. We made our voice very loud in this, talking about what's happening in conflict areas and also in the cities. So we had a very important work that we were supported by Noble Women Initiative on a very important report for us that came out in 2013. Is women of Sudan, different women groups in different parts in conflict areas and cities, and women's rights activists spoke about their experience. And this report was really a very important. It gave women recognition that what they have been doing inside can also be seen and read by other women or known by other people outside Sudan. The work that we were doing was actually not accepted by the government, and they started really closing down a lot of organizations, not necessarily women organizations, but all human rights organizations. Between 2012 and 2014, more than 10 organizations were closed down, confiscated all their equipments and things, and arrest some of their staff. And our organization was among these organizations. In 2014, our office was closed, confiscated, and that was something that really affected a lot the mobilization and the work we were doing. Especially, we were an umbrella for women organization. We were umbrella for youth group movements. So this put me at risk a bit with the government. So after the closure, I started really trying to work at a different level. But unfortunately, they put me I can't say it's a house arrest, but I'm under surveillance throughout these processes. And after 8 months of this struggle, I came to Canada to just have a little bit of a space where I feel safe with my little daughter. So we came here for, it should be a 6-month trip, but unfortunately, or fortunately enough too, that I wasn't able to go back because my security situation remained very, very risky. So I decided to remain in Canada with the support of the organization that brought me here, including Noble Women Initiative, Inter Paris, and the Feminist Research Center at York University, where I was located for these 6 months. So I applied for a refugee case and I got accepted. And one of the things that I want to share with you today, that last night I got a confirmation for my resident permit. So I'm very happy to be here. What I'm doing here now, I took quite some time. I really felt very very down because the working at Salma was a life project for me. It's not just an organization I was working with. It was my life project. It was sorry. Sorry for that. So I was trying to recover from this. So I'm in the process of recovery, and I'm really thankful to all the people who supported me in this process. I'm now volunteering with women organization working for the support of newcomers and Syrian refugees here in Hamilton City, and I'm very happy to be here. And I'm working with a lot I'm not doing like immediate work, but I'm doing a lot of things within the organization. So I feel that I'm now able to find a place where I can start and begin my life here in Canada. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Fahima, and a big congratulations on receiving your permanent residency. I know that's a big step forward, and to provide you with some of the safety that you need. Just to highlight, so both of you came alone. Fahima, you're a single mom, you came with a little girl, and Muzna also came alone to Canada. So very, very, brave and courageous of you to do this all on your own. So your lives really exemplify the linkages between the women, peace and security agenda and the issue of migration and refugees. So can you tell us some more about the threats women activists face, including as refugees, and what have you seen in terms of responses to these threats? Can you share any good example where you've seen responses that have worked really well?
In level of NGOs, our international NGOs who's working to provide like safe shelters for the women, because many of them, they have been under threat, or they live under threat, and also they need safe space to continue. And sometimes the violence comes from the partners, so they didn't have any skills to start the work or to move to another house or something like that. So they need like shelters. So I saw that one of the best responding in this situation, that the shelters in neighboring country, and also they facing like many of discrimination, like they are for activists in general, or for activists specific, and also for the refugees in general. They didn't have the official paper, so this things it's very hard, because we didn't have like a protection when we didn't have our paper or our rights as a legal. And one of these things, that Turkey, for example, they recognize Syrian as a guest, not as a refugee. So what's the guest rights for the women, or for a refugee in general? So this is the problem, that we didn't have a status, and also we didn't have our rights. So we moved from the NGOs or civil society to take this role, to responding in this needs for women, in level of education, in level of security also, and to empowerment, to find jobs, and to start independent life.
Great. Fahima, do you have any examples?
Well, because what our struggle in Sudan was mainly with IDPs because we didn't have. I mean, the conflict was more overwhelming than dealing with anything else. So I can take the IDPs as well as like the same thing, like
Mm-hmm.
even when they move from the conflict area to other cities where some of them might lack a language, some of them might lack the skills that makes them engage in that new society for them. When you lose everything back home and you move, you come to an area where you don't have anything, and the support from the international organization for shelters and was really minimal, which they remain in poverty, and they remain with a lot of difficulties of how, even though within their own country, but still they lack like certificates, like birth certificates for the children to take them to school. They lack, so it's a very, very miserable situation, and a lot of them have without the international organization support, they can't continue even having food or drinking water or a place where they can, lie down from the rain or the dust or anything. So when our government sometimes will expel out the country, like most of the organizations who are working with internally displaced person, they leave them alone, and the government will say that we will take care of them, and that happened in 2013. The Sudan government expelled 13 international organizations, and they said the government is going to take care of the IDPs from now. And from that time, I think that was a very difficult situation for IDPs. They have faced a lot of violence from the government itself. And then the violence, of course, from within, because domestic violence also occur when everything is just not working. So women were really in a very, very difficult situation in the internally displaced camps which is now, after the separation of South Sudan, most of them have been dried, but still people coming to live around the suburbs of the cities because it's the only way for them they can go and find something to live on. So it is very complicated, and then you have a lot of children who are not taken care of. They face a lot of epidemic diseases. They don't go to school because school is not free. So there's a lot of challenges facing internally displaced, especially women and children.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess also another example is that both of you experienced as international or women's organizations around the world providing different trainings or retreats or things like that for activists like you to come and take a break when you're under threat or face insecurity. So that's another example of supporting activists like you.
For sure. I think I must say that despite, as I mentioned, Inter-Paris and Noble Women Initiative here in Canada, which are based here, but I think Urgent Action Fund, for example, was a very good example that supported a lot of women in the African region, for example, to get that space. And even some women in other different, because Urgent Action Fund Africa was also supporting me to come to Canada when I was asking for just a refuge, a place where I can feel I'm safe. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of contribution from another organization that was supporting us even before, like V-Day, Open Society Institute. So there are some organizations that really help frontline. They help women to have a space to breathe and go back if possible. If not possible, they try actually further to see what they can do for them.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to for donor countries to support these organizations.
Sure.
So, moving forward, what has been your experience here in Canada? Have you felt well supported throughout your asylum process? And what are some gaps that you see here, or other areas that have worked really well for you?
This question for me or for Fahima?
Sure, go ahead, Muzna.
Okay. Actually, I found it's not fair to comparing me or the activists here in Canada with the women refugees, like a normal woman who's didn't involve in the activism. So because they didn't have the network here, and they have a barriers of language like French or English, so they facing many problems or many difficulties. Even they have a safe space, but they it's very hard to integrate or to go ahead in this new life, because it's very difficult to start from zero or from the nothing in a new country with no language, with no support. So for me, I found Canada, it's very give me many tools to continue my work, especially in the in level of protection. I took all the official paper like travel documents, ID, and all these things, all this stuff, and I can move now. I can travel mostly, not like before, and now I can also help another type of refugees here, like here in Canada, like link between Syrian refugees and Canadian society or Canadian organization, but still they need not just to settlement here. It's not just to be safe in the house, but also to start, and we need usually I'm help refugees here in Montreal introduction also. They need usually like a connection, because all the refugees have a stigma that they are refugees, they are not able to integrate or to start a new life or to get job or something. So they need a connection with Canadian, and to dealing with these refugees as a human, as a not just as a refugees who's are cannot able to be a great example for Canada. And here I wanted to talking about example about a young Syrian young who's his name Hani Mulaya. He is a refugee also in camp in Lebanon, and he came to Canada from 1 year and a half, and now he is in Parliament Youth of Trudeau in government. So just 1 year and a half to be in the Parliament. So and we can imagine for the future that all the children and all these young people, young Syrian refugees, will be arrive in the high level in Canada. So just they need to connection with this society, to not stigmatize the refugees as just refugees. They are here as all the immigrants or all the people. So we need just these things to arrive in the flexible point. And also I saw that the private sponsorship, it's one of the great initiative, social initiatives in the world, that the society took the role of government in level of financial or to support this family and in the connection also. So I saw that this program, it's very great, and it will like an example for to lead all the world to do the same things, because we know that there's like a famine in Yemen or in another country. There's many conflicts in the world, and we need to move on to resolve these problems by the social initiatives and by the government.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any additional thoughts, Fahima?
Well, I must say that I'm really 100% agreeing with what Muzna said on it's not easy if you don't have the language, and at least the possibility of a small network to put you through. It's not easy. As I said, I am volunteering now with an organization in Hamilton that works with newcomers, and I can see that the young and the Syrian refugees who are not able yet to communicate in English, the frustration they are living. And I think, but they are also eager to learn. So it will take them some time to really be able to push themselves up into the, but if I come back to myself, I think I am very lucky. I'm very lucky to have come to Canada, that I've already known people, and I especially want to thank here you, Diane. I want to thank Noble Women Initiative for their support. I want to thank really Inter Paris for their really time and support they gave me, and I want to thank here also Amanda Dale, who she really made me, like I have a family in Toronto, and she gave me a lot of support. So without you people, I think it wouldn't have been easy for me. Coming to Canada, wasn't easy, a new country, only myself and my little daughter. Also, I haven't lived outside Sudan, and I was never tempted to move outside Sudan. So for me, it took me quite some time, but then I realized the importance of being here. I also needed to rest a bit and not to really put myself as I used to be at home, like working 24 hours, 7. But I needed to have a peace with myself, evaluate, reflect, and go back. But it's the great country for young people, better than someone like me who is in early 50s. But I'm struggling, and I'm not going to look at the age as a barrier for me. So I'm wishing to really pursue education as well as getting a job that I really wish to work in. But to go back to people who have been coming to Canada with no skills, especially English language, I think that's not easy for them. But if they get the grip of the language, I think it's a great place to be, and I'm happy to be here.
Perfect. One more question before I turn to the audience, and just a reminder to our listeners, feel free to type messages and questions into the little chat box on the side of the conversation in your computer if you have any questions. So one more question. So more and more northern countries are now using overseas development assistance money to cover the costs for refugees in country. So this includes Canada as well, which has spent almost twice as much of ODA on in-country refugee costs than the year before. So why is this problematic?
Because not all the refugees have a chance to coming for the North America or to Canada or the Europe, because it's there's many difficulties to coming here, and also the numbers. if we take a look about the Syrian refugees, we have like 6 million refugees now in the Dureid country. So it's difficult to move all these refugees, and we saw that the society there, they need the support, and we need to resolve the problem there, to stopping the waves of refugees all the time. So when we resolve the problem there, we didn't have many of problems after. So and also the civil society or the NGO there, they need usually always the support from the countries who's help the refugees or the people cause. So if we're dealing with all this cause or all this problem at just the refugees, this waves is will continue to arrive, and we didn't resolve the mind problem, because we have like, if you take a look about the reasons to be refugees, like besieged area, detention, killing, displacement. So we need to resolve the mind problem in there, to help them in the first level, and after that to dealing with the effects of this violation, because it's very hard to also, if arrive to Canada or another countries, to start from zero. Even this countries, they are safe, and they give a lot, but still it's very difficult for the refugees. So to return back to country and resolve all the problem by intervention, by political intervention, or to push up the solution or negotiations in the conflict country, it's more effective for these countries.
Great. And Fahima, if I could ask you, so what do you think should be the key goal of Canada's next National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security? What do you see as Canada's niche or advantage in the Women, Peace and Security agenda?
Okay. See, what I have been, despite the fact that Canada had played really a crucial role in supporting refugees and settle them here in Canada, which 40,000 refugees it's a big word, yet there are millions around them. As Muzna said, there are the 6 million around the world that are refugees. So I still feel the Canada can contribute also to the support of organizations who are back in those countries, to really support them, not necessarily with this program, like, you know, when you just talked before that giving them the voice, bringing them for conferences, introducing them to others, looking at different strategies, but it's very crucial to continue funding and supporting organizations who work back around the area of those refugees camps, because otherwise the problem remains, it will remain unresolved with what is happening in the world today. Then by just bringing number of refugees to Canada or to other places, it will still be helpful for those people who have been lucky to be selected, but then the rest will be left out of that. So I think the Canada's approach of bringing people here, it's a great thing, and I think it's crucial, and it's really important. But how can they look also the support of the women or human rights organization or support humanitarian organization working around the refugees camps areas, and not only, as I said, just funding what is happening, but also help people who get engaged in different meetings, make a voice of what they have seen, get rest of what the hassle that the workers also feel when they work with refugees for a long time. It's also something that's important to look at the workers who are dealing with people in refugees camps. So I think Canada has a lot to provide. But it's just this new coming strategy of looking at peace and security. They also need to look at the position of women who remained in those refugees camps, as well as maybe another thing which is important. I think some families who brought to Canada, they didn't come. They came like small one or two members of the families, and the other ones have remained in other camps, either in Turkey or in Jordan. So sometimes this reunification will help also Syrian refugees who brought to Canada to integrate with their families, and they feel more peaceful rather than. I mean, I have my neighbor who is 54 with 2 children, and her rest of her family is in Jordan. I can see her so stressful and sad every day. And I try to help and talk and but I can't do that. I can't do much. But there are some cases. I can't say many because I really don't know, but I think these are also important things to look at, reunify some families together.
Mm-hmm. Great. So one key message I think that we've really heard throughout this conversation today is just really supporting the localization agenda that came out of the grand bargain to further support local organizations and work with local civil society. Many rich donor countries are moving away from that model to support large international organizations, but really this is maybe a key area where Canada can make a difference to really support the local organizations. Okay, great. We have one question, and that in relation to the Global Compact on Refugees. So last September in New York, during the UN Refugee Summit, countries have agreed to come up with a global compact on refugees to address the refugee crisis globally. So what key interventions can Canada make, and what precedents can it really set to change business as usual when it comes to addressing the refugee crisis? Do either of you have some thoughts on that? I know it's a bit of a complex question.
Can you just repeat the question because I didn't hear it?
Yes. So what key interventions can Canada make, and what precedents can it set to ensure that the Global Compact on Refugees changes business as usual when it comes to addressing the refugee crisis?
Mm-hmm. The first one is to ensuring that we need to as I told, to resolve the problem by political issue, like negotiation or to political intervention. And the second one that to lead the world by this program is private sponsorship, because it's not just to talk the refugees here or just to help them, but also to build the countries between to build Canada or another countries who's received the refugees. So I think to make this program as a a globally example for all the countries who's help the refugees. It will be great, and it will resolve many problems, because the refugees, they didn't need not just the helps in logistics things, but they need also help in the level of education and official paper, and also to set up like a emergency plan for the threat, like if we have activists or people who's under threat, like in emergency situation, we need to respond in this situation as soon as possible. So we need to many program, and also I found with my work that the type of the refugees in the world, it's the same, like the typical cases. It's like families, like father, mother, and children. But what's about the feminist activists, and what's about the single mothers, and what's about the orphans? So we need also to consider this categories of refugees as they are in need more than another types of refugees.
Perfect. Very good points, Muzna. Do you have any last point, Fahima?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think has been important, but has been always very mildly dealt with in conflict situation, is the involvement of women in not only in the resolving of conflict problem, but involving them within the refugees camps to highlight their problems. Like just to add, like 1325 has been always there with a lot of amendments made for that resolution, but still it's not taken its strength to really make women involvement in the case of refugees women status strong enough to make a voice for them.
Yes, that's also a very excellent point. Well, Muzna and Fahima, thank you so much for taking the time to share your stories and experiences and thoughts with us today. Your life really serves as an inspiration for us to work hard to improve Canada's next National Action Plan. Thank you so much for all you do. And then also thank you to our participants for joining us today. Just a quick reminder that you will find more resources as well as ways to engage on the consultation website at www.cnapconsult.org. We have another webinar scheduled for April 18 on feminist foreign policy, and are also seeking your input in a survey. So stay tuned for updates from the organizing committee, and we look forward to welcoming some of you in Ottawa in a couple of weeks. So thank you, Muzna and Fahima. It was so lovely to have you here today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.